Pretty cool, right? It's been a while since I had a lot of fun with a character, and Banyue hits all the right spots for me. It feels so satisfying once you start understanding and pulling up these combos. There's a lot of room for optimization, but also options that allows a more relaxed and a casual approach to his gameplay. Is he complex? For sure, but maybe not as much as you think. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. In this video, you'll find everything that you need to stop mashing and start your training arc with Banyue. Name's Muzzy, and welcome to my Banyue guide. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer that all of the information here comes from the content creator server, which means it's not final and could change before the official release. Let's start by going over his kit so you can understand his moves and how to do them. Banyue has two different basic attack strings, one from pressing the basic attack button and another one from pressing the EX special attack button. You can use either one and it's totally fine. The main difference here is about what EX special you can chain from these basic attack strings. From the basic attack button, you can chain into Earth Shaker or Lion's Roar. And from the EX basic string, you can chain into Mountain's Tremor or One's Path. But these are not the only way to use Banyue's EX special, and in fact, while you use a lot of basic attacks to regenerate adrenaline, you want to learn the quick inputs for these EX specials as it gives access to better versions and rotations. By inputting a specific sequence of buttons, you can trigger these EX specials without the need to go over all of the base attacks, while also being able to chain EX specials into other EX specials. These inputs can happen during any EX special: Quick Assist, Assist Follow-Up, Dodge Counter, Chain Attack, Ultimate, or his base attack Immolate, which is related to his core skill and will be explained later. For example, to activate Earth Shaker, you would need to press basic attack 3 times before pressing EX. But with quick inputs, you can press basic, EX, basic during any of the previous mentioned attacks and trigger an Earth Shaker. Sure, you still need to activate any of these attacks in order to use quick inputs, but some of these are easily accessible thanks to some tools available on Banyue's kit. For example, Banyue can easily access assist follow-ups thanks to his dodge Immovable Mountain, which work as a parry for him. Learning all of these inputs is really important, as some of these EX special have an exclusive variation that consumes more adrenaline and deal increased damage. For example, if you have enough adrenaline after using Earth Shaker, you can use Mountain Tremor Wrath, which is only available as a follow-up after Earth Shaker. The full list of combos is the following: Basic EX Basic for Earth Shaker, and EX EX Basic for Mountain Tremor, which, as I explained before, has a rough variation that can be used after Earth Shaker. EX Basic EX for One's Path, and Basic Basic EX for Lion's Roar, which, just like Mountain Tremor, also has a rough variation that can be used after One's Path. Did you notice the pattern here? The inputs for each combo is basically the opposite of the other combo. For the Earth Shaker combo, you do Basic EX Basic, EX EX Basic. But for the One's Path combo, you press EX Basic EX, Basic Basic EX. This helped me remember the combos, since knowing at least one of them means that you can just mirror and get the other one as well. But if you thought that that was the most complicated part of Banyue, I am sorry to disappoint you. There's much more complexity here. Banyue can cancel his EX specials when using quick inputs. This allows Banyue to quickly chain EX special into massive combos. However, there's a small issue. If you cancel it too early, you will lose the damage of the previous EX special. To make it worse, there's no easy way to know when to cancel besides getting used to these attacks. The good news is that if you're too slow on the input, then you're not losing anything. But if you get used to the timing and hit a perfect cancel, you shorten the time of your EX specials while still dealing the maximum possible damage. You can also see a red circle flashing on Banyue whenever you hit a perfect cancel. If you see this while practicing Banyue combos, this means that you got the right timing. Another interesting thing about Banyue is that you can buffer these quick inputs. For example, when trying to do the Earth Shaker into Mountain Tremor, you can input EX and just wait for the right timing before pressing basic. For ultimate, chain, dodge counter, assist follow-ups, and quick assist, you can input the full sequence and Banyue will automatically use the EX special after the attack finishes. Banyue has 3 different dodge options. The first, and the one that you use the most, is immovable mounting, as this gives you an assist follow-up that regenerates a lot of adrenaline for you. To use this one, make sure you're not pressing any movement key and press dodge. This will put Banyue in a defensive stance that can parry enemy attacks. Pressing dodge while moving will trigger the classic dodge that you're already used to. Finally, doing a half circle before pressing dodge will dodge backwards and taunt enemies. It looks fun, a bit of aura farming, and you can use to cancel an EX special and use a taunt to input another EX special, but honestly you're not using this one unless it's for fun or your Mindscapes 6, I guess. Chain attack and ultimates are just more damage to Banyue. As I said before, you can do quick inputs during these attacks animations, and they also activates the Visage of Wrath state, which is his core skill. Banyue generates wrathful fires by different methods, using adrenaline, defensive assist, parrying enemy attacks with immovable mountain, and also using dodge counters. You can also use base attack Inflame to consume HP and generate wrathful fires. You can only use this attack once per battle or while you are out of combat, and you can only use it while below 120 wrathful fires and with more than 50% HP. Banyue can stack up to 150 wrathful fires, and if Banyue has at least 120, he can activate the Visage of Wrath state, where he gets 4 Mountain Smite stacks that can be consumed instead of adrenaline when using EX specials. They also generate 10 adrenaline for you when consuming them. To activate it, you can use either Chain Attack, Ultimate, or just hold down Base Attack while you have more than 120 Wrathful Fires. Keep in mind that you cannot generate Wrathful Fires while in the Visage of Wrath state. Holding down EX special while in the Visage of Wrath state initiates an automatic combo that uses 4 EX specials and finishes with a new basic attack, Toppling Mountain. Basic attack Toppling Mountain is a finishing move that consumes 120 Wrathful Fires and deals massive damage. Since it forces you out of the Visage of Wrath state, it is highly recommended to use it after spending your Mountain Wrath stacks, which is why the automatic combo uses 4 EX specials before Toppling Mountain. But you can also manually use it while in the Visage of Wrath state by holding down the basic attack button. The reason for the manual input is because there's another basic attack that also deals massive damage, even more than any other EX special. But to unlock it, you need to use at least 2 EX special with quick inputs before holding down basic attack. Crushing Peaks automatically follows up with Toppling Mountain for massive damage. While you lose some damage from using the auto combo, it makes it easier for more casual players to still enjoy the cinematic and massive damage from Toppling Mountain, which is really important for your damage on your stun windows. Also, as part of his core skill, whenever you use an EX special or assist follow-up, you get up to 300 sheer force, 36% fire damage, and 36% crit damage based on the skill level. This lasts for 30 seconds, and since Banyue is always using these 2 attacks, it means a permanent buff for him. Finally, his additional ability requires support or stun agent and gives 1 stack of Vidyaraja when consuming Mountain Smite to use an EX special from quick inputs or basic attack strings. Doing the auto combo will not generate any stacks of Vidyaraja. It stacks up to 3 times and only lasts for 8 seconds, and each stack increases Banyue's fire damage by 5%. For gameplay, Banyue wants all the fuel time you can give to him. Immovable Mountain allows Banyue to stay safe, generate resources, and apply daze to enemies, which helps you to hit the stun window once you generate enough Wrathful Fires. Ideally, you want to start with base attack Inflame before the fight in order to start with Visage of Wrath state. Spend your stacks for some adrenaline and damage and finish it off with Toppling Mountain. After this, start spending adrenaline, parrying enemy attacks as much as you can so you can regenerate Wrathful Fires for the stun window. I'll give an example combo, but keep in mind this assumes manual chain, some sort of stun extension such as dialing, and is just one of many possible combos that you can pull off with Banyue. After getting enough Ruffle Fires, start the stun with your stunner and use Banyue chain attack. Quickly input basic EX basic and cancel the next chain. Tap EX 2 times and then press basic to finish the combo input and trigger Mountain Tremor Rough. Swap from Banyue and trigger another chain. If you're using dialing, this is where you hold basic to trigger her chain upgrade. Do another chain on Banyue and quickly input EX basic EX. Once one's path starts, tap basic EX for Lion's Roar Rough, and then use Banyue's ultimate. Hold down basic attack during Banyue's ultimate so you can quickly finish with Crushing Peaks and Toppling Mountain. You might have noticed that this combo was slightly adjusted for this fight against Wandering Hunter, as this sequence is too long and Toppling Mountain would not benefit from Wandering Hunter increasing the sheer damage stacks. Keep in mind that the damage output can vary a lot depending on how fast you're doing all of this. Is losing the stacks or the stun multiplier will hurt your stun damage, or doing it too fast could cancel some of your EX specials and you're losing even more damage. Now, let's talk about building your Banyue. For the 4-piece set, the only option is Yunkai Tails 4-piece. As someone that uses a lot of EX specials, Banyue can quickly stacks and make use of the increased crit rate and sheer damage. For the 2-piece, choose between Woodpecker Electro, Branch and Blade Song, or Inferno Metal, depending on your sub-stats. For these stats, use crit rate or crit damage on your slot 4. It depends on your current ratio. So if you're lacking crit rate substats, use crit rate, but if you have enough, you can go for crit damage. This 5 is always fire damage, and for this 6, the only option is HP. A really straightforward build, as it happens to be with all Rupture Agents. For substats, your top priority is always crit rate and crit damage, as these offers the best damage increase for you. Down below in the priority, you can get some HP percentage, attack percentage, flat HP, and flat attack in that order for the best sheer force increase. For skills, focus on his core skill first, as it increases his stats and the core buff that can be easily sustained for the whole fight. Follow up with EX specials, ultimates, and basics, as these 3 are your main source of damage. Then level up his assist for some increased damage and days on his assist follow-up, which you use quite a lot, and finish it up with dodge, but only if you really need it, as it also gives some extra days for your immovable mountain. And for weapons, it might be no surprise for you that Banyue's signature will be the best option for him. Offering 20% crit rate and up to 18% fire sheer damage at phase 1, this weapon provides unmatched potential for Banyue. If you don't plan to pull his signature, the best option is using any other crit rate weapon, such as issue a signature or an attack weapon, or stack a lot of extra crit rate on Banyue and use Monoto's signature for the extra fire damage. Keep in mind that Banyue cannot sustain the crit rate on Monoto's signature, and depending on team buffs and builds, it's much better to focus on crit rate and crit damage instead of fire damage. For Banyue Mindscapes, I will not dive into them that much, as honestly, they're kinda underwhelming. Mindscape 1 adds some interesting damage potential thanks to the increased fire resistance ignore and sheer damage on some of his heavy hitting moves. But the most interesting part is the increased stun duration. As I showcased on my example combo, these extra 2 seconds are really important to fit more attacks on the stun window. But if you can't fit everything already, at most you're using another 2 EX special before the end of the stun window. Mindscape 2 gives crit damage and fire damage, and increases the regeneration from consuming Mountain Might while in the Visage of Rough state. This is a total of 20 extra adrenaline, which is enough for 1 EX special, and that's it. Mindscape 4 is, once again, more damage, but nothing much. And finally, Mindscape 6 adds more damage. But hey, we have some quality of life improvements as well. Vidyaraja's stack duration increased from 8 to 30 seconds, and using his taunt after an EX special also gives you Vidyaraja, which allows you to keep the fire damage with 100% uptime through the fight. Overall, Banyue Mindscapes are pretty disappointing, and I would not recommend pulling any of them before the signature. If you really want, you can get Mindscape 1 for some increased damage and much more flexibility on your team options, as you don't need the stun extension from some other agents, such as dialing or lighter on your team. Lastly, let's talk about teams. As a sustained DPS, Banyue wants all the field time for him. This means that ideally you want to pair him with characters that can provide utility even when outside of the field. For stunners, this means characters like Jufufu or Trigger, but Dialing is also an amazing option due to the stun extension and extra ultimate. And while she's not an off-field stunner, she provides massive burst of daze that allows Banyue to hit the stun window as soon as he stacks Wrath of Fires. For supports, either Pan Yinhu or Lucia are your best options since they provide massive sheer force for Banyue. You could try forcing Lighter on the team, but just like Minato, this means you won't get access to the sheer force buffs from Lucia or Pan, which is quite massive for any Rupture Agent. Banyue is a really fun sustained fire DPS. He's complex, but pulling up his combo feels really satisfying. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I had a lot of fun learning Banyue bit by bit, but the more I play with him, the more I realize a massive flaw. Just like any sustained DPS, most of the damage will happen on the stun window, so you can make use of the stun damage multiplier. But since his resource generation is so low, this means that most of the time, you need to slow down your days to make sure that you're building enough resources for the stun window. Off-field stunners such as Jufufu, for example, could be an issue if they happen to apply too much daze and stun the enemy before you finish generating resources. Even if you can hit more stun windows, Banyue will usually only hit around 3 stun windows with Visage of Wrath. Extra stun windows without any Adrenaline or Visage of Wrath will have low value since a lot of Banyue damage comes from EX specials, ultimates, and the finishing move of Visage of Wrath. And that's everything for my Banyue guide. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below or join my Discord server. Thank you so much for watching this video, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.